Starlight Keep HFY presents Starlight Keep, Chapter 8. Tomorrow. The soft luminescence of the celestial gardens bathed Althea and Garrick in a gentle glow as they stood beneath the star willow, its branches swaying lightly in the artificial breeze. The celebrations in the Starlight Arena had drawn to a close, but neither felt ready to return to the solitude of their quarters. Althea gazed upward, her eyes reflecting the twinkling lights that mimicked distant galaxies. It's remarkable how, even amidst the vastness of space, we can create moments of serenity like this. Garrick nodded, his gaze fixed on her profile. Sometimes, it takes facing the brink of disaster to appreciate the quiet moments. She turned to him, a soft smile playing on her lips. You humans have a saying, don't you? It's always darkest before the dawn. He chuckled lightly. We do have a knack for hopeful cliches. Hope is a powerful force, she mused. Perhaps one of your greatest strengths. He leaned against the smooth trunk of the star willow. You know, when I first took this post, I thought I'd seen it all. But you... He hesitated, searching for the right words. You've shown me that there's so much more to discover. She tilted her head, her silver hair cascading over her shoulder like a waterfall of starlight. And you've shown me the depth of human courage and compassion, qualities that go beyond mere duty. A comfortable silence enveloped them, filled with unspoken understanding. The air was rich with the scent of night blossoms, their petals unfurling under the watchful glow of simulated constellations. Althea, Garrick began softly, his voice barely above a whisper. Back in the control room, when you risked everything to save the station, I realized something. She met his gaze, her emerald eyes searching his. What did you realize? That I can't imagine facing the challenges of this place without you. He took a hesitant step closer. You've become more than a colleague or a friend. You've become indispensable. A faint blush colored her cheeks, a delicate hue that only enhanced her ethereal beauty. You honor me with your words. He reached out slowly, giving her plenty of time to pull away. When she didn't, his fingers brushed against hers, the contact sending a subtle warmth coursing through them both. I'm not just saying it to be polite. Her smile widened ever so slightly. I know. They stood there, hands gently entwined, the world around them fading into the background. The star willow's leaves rustled softly, as if whispering secrets to the night. Do you remember when we first met? She asked suddenly. He laughed softly. How could I forget? You were lost in your star maps, and I nearly gave you a heart attack by appearing out of nowhere. She shook her head, amused. I was not lost, merely deeply focused. Is that what you call it? He teased. I recall you jumping a foot in the air. She playfully swatted his arm. Perhaps humans should learn not to sneak up on elves who are communing with the cosmos. He grinned, the mischievous sparkle in his eyes, bringing a lightness to the moment. Noted. Her expression grew more serious, though the warmth remained. You've challenged many of my preconceptions, Garrick. About humans. About myself. He raised an eyebrow. Hopefully in a good way. In the best way, she affirmed. Your species has a resilience that's both humbling and inspiring. You face the unknown with a blend of determination and hope that's rare among the stars. He considered her words. I think it's because, for us, the unknown has always been a part of our journey. We've had to adapt, to survive against odds that seemed impossible. Like now, she added softly, standing on the edge of the galaxy, forging alliances with those once thought too different. He nodded. Exactly. And maybe, just maybe, we're not so different after all. She stepped closer, the space between them diminishing. Differences can be a source of strength when embraced. He felt his heartbeat quicken, the gravity of the moment settling over them. Althea, Before he could continue, her communicator chimed, the soft tone breaking the moment. She glanced at the device, her expression apologetic. I'm sorry. It's the navigation team. They need my input on recalibrating the star maps after the system reboot. He sighed, feeling a hint of frustration. Duty calls. She reached up, her fingers lightly grazing his cheek. This conversation isn't over. He captured her hand in his, pressing it gently. I'll hold you to that. She smiled, a promise in her eyes. Until later, Garrick. As she turned to leave, he watched her go, the sway of her movements as graceful as ever. Once she disappeared from sight, he exhaled deeply, running a hand through his hair. Almost had it, he muttered to himself. Had what? A familiar voice piped up. Garrick spun around to see Wren, the young boy they'd rescued from the Shadow's End, peeking out from behind a nearby tree. Wren, what are you doing out here? Garrick asked, concerned. The boy shrugged, stepping forward. Couldn't sleep. Thought I'd explore a bit. Garrick smiled wryly. You and me both. Wren's eyes darted in the direction Althea had gone. She's nice. That she is, Garrick agreed. The boy looked up at him, a sly grin forming. Do you like her? Garrick chuckled, scratching the back of his neck. What makes you ask that? I've seen the way you look at her, Wren said matter-of-factly. Like my dad used to look at my mom. A pang of empathy tugged at Garrick's heart. Kneeling down to Wren's level, he said gently, You miss them a lot, don't you? Wren nodded, his bravado fading. Every day. Garrick placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. It's okay to miss them, and it's okay to find new people to care about. The boy considered this. Like you and Althea? Garrick smiled softly. Maybe. We're still figuring that out. Wren seemed to accept this, his gaze drifting to the star willow. Do you think the tree really grants wishes? I think it helps us realize what we truly want, Garrick replied. Wren's eyes lit up. I'm going to make a wish. Go for it, Garrick encouraged. The boy closed his eyes tightly, his small hands clenched in determination. After a moment, he opened them, a hopeful gleam shining through. Feel better? Garrick asked. Yeah, Wren said confidently. I wished for a family. Garrick felt a swell of emotion. That's a good wish. Wren looked at him thoughtfully. You'd make a good dad, you know. Caught off guard, Garrick blinked. Me? I don't know about that. Well, you already look out for me, Wren pointed out. And you care about people. Garrick was silent for a moment, humbled by the boy's sincerity. Thanks, Wren. That means a lot. They sat together under the star willow, the gentle glow enveloping them in a cocoon of tranquility. Over the next few days, life aboard Starlight Keep began to settle into a new rhythm. Repairs were completed, and the scars of the recent sabotage began to fade. The diverse inhabitants resumed their routines, a renewed sense of unity permeating the station. Garrick found himself busier than ever, coordinating with security teams to bolster defenses and ensure the safety of all aboard. Yet, amidst the flurry of activity, thoughts of Althea lingered at the edge of his mind. One evening, as he finalized reports in his office, a soft chime signaled an incoming message. Tapping the console, Althea's image appeared, her expression warm. "Good evening, Garrick." He smiled instinctively. "Althea? To what do I owe the pleasure?" "I was wondering if you'd like to join me for a walk," she suggested. "There's something I'd like to show you." Curiosity piqued, he nodded. "Let me wrap things up here, and I'll meet you at the Whispering Woods." "Perfect," she agreed. "See you soon." The Whispering Woods were particularly enchanting at night. The bioluminescent plants cast a myriad of colors, and the air was filled with the soft hum of nocturnal creatures. Althea awaited him near the entrance, her silhouette framed by the iridescent glow. "Ready for an adventure?" she asked playfully. He approached with a grin. "Always." They strolled along the winding paths, the foliage rustling softly around them. Althea led him to a secluded clearing where a small pool reflected the simulated night sky. "I wanted to share this place with you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's where I come to reflect." He gazed at the serene waters. "It's beautiful." She stepped closer to the pool, her reflection rippling gently. "There's a legend among my people that says, when two souls look into the mirror of stars together, their fates become intertwined." He joined her at the water's edge, their reflections merging amidst the starlight. "Sounds like a significant step." She glanced at him, vulnerability and hope mingling in her eyes. "It is." Understanding dawned on him, a profound sense of connection settling in his heart. "Althea, She reached out, her fingers intertwining with his. "Garrick, I've come to cherish our time together. Your strength, your kindness, they've touched me deeply." He turned to face her fully, his free hand gently cupping her cheek. "You've opened my eyes to wonders I never knew existed. You've challenged me, inspired me." She leaned into his touch, her voice soft. "Perhaps our paths were always meant to cross." He drew her closer, their foreheads nearly touching. "I don't know what the future holds, but I know I want to face it with you." Her smile was radiant, filled with joy. "Then let us forge it together." Right there and then, the barriers between their worlds faded away. The air seemed to hum with energy as their lips met in a tender kiss, sealing the unspoken promises between them. When they finally parted, Garrick's eyes shone with awe, mixed with affection. "Well, that's one way to intertwine fates." She laughed softly, the sound like music to his ears. "Indeed." They settled beside the pool, shoulders touching as they gazed up at the stars, both real and simulated, each one a beacon of possibilities yet to be explored. "Do you ever wonder what others will think?" he asked after a while. She considered the question. "There will be those who don't understand, but our actions will speak louder than their doubts. By embracing our connection, we set an example, a shining light to the unity Starlight Keep represents." He nodded thoughtfully. "Humans and elves, working together, building bridges." She rested her head on his shoulder, perhaps even inspiring others to do the same. He smiled, a sense of contentment washing over him. "You know, I think Wren was right." "About what?" About making wishes under the star willow. She lifted her head to look at him. Oh? And what did you wish for? He met her gaze, sincerity etched in his features. I wished for the courage to follow my heart. Her eyes softened. And has that wish been granted? He brushed a stray hair from her face. I believe it has. She pressed a gentle kiss to his cheek. Then perhaps we should thank the star willow. He chuckled. Or maybe we should thank ourselves for taking the leap. They sat in comfortable silence, the future unfolding before them like an uncharted star map.